right, so currently I have 3 vehicles, and any one of them can be washed in under an hour. That includes the time it takes me to get everything prepped, move the cars outside, get the buckets out there, all that good stuff, drying them, putting them away, putting everything back to the way it was before I started. Admittedly, I'm moving pretty quick when I do that, but a lot of it's just second nature. I don't really have to sit there and think about a lot of it. I have a process that I'm going to run through, and I just kind of do it. Put on some headphones or some music and just get to work. There's probably going to be 2 types of people. Type 1 says, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend an hour washing my car. It's probably not the video for you. FYI, this video isn't actually going to be an hour long if you haven't already figured that out. The second group is wondering how I wash my car in under an hour without doing anything that would potentially harm it, going through a car wash or something like that. And just to be clear, I do drive these cars. Now, admittedly, the Evo doesn't run right now. It's still super dirty right now, as you can see, because I did have to pull it outside for a couple days. Not a couple days in a row, but a couple days here and there to pull the focus in. So the way I'm able to always have my cars in a state where I can clean them quickly is I just don't let them get that dirty. Now, that may seem obvious, well, if you don't drive the car, but that's not what I mean. These cars still get driven, again, minus the Evo, every day. And even when the Evo did get driven every day, it was actually probably the quickest car for me to wash. It has to do with, they don't get that dirty because of 2 reasons. 1, I wash them pretty regularly, which helps. And 2, I always make sure to put some sort of coating on them when I wash them, whether that's a sealant, a spray sealant, or a wax. I don't usually use waxes much anymore, but usually either a sealant or a spray sealant. And what that does is that allows, stuff not to stick as well. It allows the water to continue to bead up and roll off the car when you're driving it around and so forth. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Enzo's pacing around. He's not really sure what we're doing right now. He knows the garage is open, but I'm sitting in here, so he's confused. So, since it is so nice, we're gonna take advantage of it. Let me just grab some random toy that I pretty much never play with and carry that outside. That's fine, whatever. So let's get to it. We're gonna move the FJ, pull the Evo out, take advantage of that. We may pull the Evo back in to dry it. We'll see how the wind's doing. I will also kind of quickly go over the stuff that I'm using and the process. All right, let's get to it, buddy. Oh, now we got ball? Yeah. And it's gone. Oh, we got it. Okay, we are going to use the 2-bucket method here. Now, actually, generally I use 4 buckets, 2 for the body panels, and then 2 separate ones just for the wheels and engine bay. However, I'm not doing the wheels today. It's just fact of the matter, the car doesn't need them. So we're just gonna do the 2 today. We're gonna get those going, and then we gotta get the chemicals out and the hoses. So yeah. Let me just bring sticks into the house. Like he doesn't have enough toys. All right, so we got the water. We got all the chemicals. Let's go over these now. Okay, as you can plainly see, my stuff is pretty much all chemical, guys. Make no mistake, there's so many good brands out there. I mean, obviously Chemical Guys is fine. I'm just eating weeds or something. I don't know. Chemical Guys is great. I love their stuff. There's other brands that are just as good, better probably. I don't know. You know, if you do a search for the best brands out there, I'm sure you'll find 50 people giving you 50 different opinions. The reason I stick with them is, one, the price is pretty fair. They have a huge selection, and 3, I kind of just, when I started to get really serious, they were one of the first ones that I discovered on YouTube with some tutorials. And so I kind of just stuck with them, and, you know, they made it easier. So, you know, I mean, kudos to them for, you know, making tutorial videos, which essentially led me to use their products. Again, though, use whatever you want. Just make sure it's good quality stuff. You know, don't use like Dawn dish soap or, you know, stuff like that. Don't use household cleaners. Make sure it is car specific, even if you go to like AutoZone or Walmart even. The thing I will caution you is if you are going to go local to like a Walmart or something and buy stuff, I really probably wouldn't buy your towels. I haven't shopped for microfibers locally, but I would just get those like off Amazon. Get a name brand, get Chemical Guys, get something off Auto Geek's website. Don't get the Amazon Basics ones. I will say I do have some. I use them for like engine bays and stuff. Just general like grunt work for when I'm pretty much willing to ruin a towel. Good microfibers are not that expensive. I think I pay, I don't know, maybe like $10 for 4 or 5 of them, which if you compare that to like the Amazon Basics pricing, sure, that's a lot more expensive, but you really are getting what you pay for. And what you may not know, and this is one of the big points of how you clean your cars quickly and without harming them, is generally speaking, you don't damage your paint when washing your car. It's when you dry it. So spending the time on those microfibers, or I should say spending the money on those microfibers, is what's going to save you in the long run. It's also going to make the process a whole lot quicker. So buy whatever chemicals you want as long as they're meant for car cleaning. Some will be better than others, which are really just going to make your life easier. But don't buy whatever you want with microfibers. Buy a name brand. And yeah, so it's windy. That's why I'm kind of standing in here when I talk. But yeah, let's get the pressure washer going. Getting a little bit cloudier. I think it is supposed to rain here in the next hour or two, so let's get going. All right, a couple quick things on the pressure washer setup. First of all, I just have this cheap Greenworks pressure washer. Just get a better shot of it over here. It's like $70, $80 on Amazon right now. I'll put all these links below if you guys want to find them. It's fine. You can see I've got it kind of rigged up on the cart here to make my life easier. Just kind of got it fastened up there. It's really all you need to go with the foam cannon. Sure, I mean, there's nothing wrong with gas or more powerful ones. I've used more powerful ones. It's just for the size and convenience, this is perfectly fine for what I do. I will say, spend a little extra money. No matter which one you buy, they all come with cheap hose. So what I did was I bought this hose here off Amazon. I think it's just a little disclaimer. When I say I can wash a car in under an hour, that's if Enzo's not here. If Enzo's here, 2, 3 hours, who knows. Anyways, I think this one's maybe 25 feet or something. Definitely spend some money, buy a nicer hose. It will save you a lot of hassle in the long run. This won't kink or anything like that. Plus, it's a whole lot longer. Now, you can get all technical and, you know, you lose so much pressure over distance and so forth. I didn't notice any loss with this over the stock hose. And if I am losing any, I'm perfectly fine with it because it's still more than enough and it's so much better than the hose that came with it that I'm still better off. You can also buy like different wands, attachments and such. I did have quick connect attachments. So actually I think I still have them. Yeah, like these things. Problem is they were supposed to be like, you know, not rust. They were supposed to be like pure brass and everything. Clearly they are not, so I stopped using those. I bought those off Amazon too. Now I'm kind of at a loss. I might try to go local or somewhere. Try to find some better ones. I don't know. I'll probably try on Amazon again. When you have the quick connects, it's so much easier because you can literally just pop them on. I can pop this whole setup in like 15 seconds. Now I got to screw everything together, so that's kind of annoying. The other thing you'll want is a good hose. This one was bought at Home Depot or Lowe's or something. I actually prefer all rubber hoses. And I still have one. Well, speaking of, this is the reason why I don't really use it that often, because it's not good to drink out of them. So I only use the rubber hose when I'm like washing the car in the garage anymore, or if he's not here. That way, if he wants to come up and take a drink out of the hose or something, I can let him and I don't have to worry about it. Oh, you shake? Oh, thank you. So you can get like an all rubber hose from, I have the Craftsman one from Sears. You can catch it on deals for cheap, like less than $20, I think, maybe. Even at its full price at like $35 for like a 50 foot, it's still an amazing value. You can get all rubber hoses at like Lowe's and Home Depot as well. But as long as it's all rubber, that's gonna hold up the best. I've had that one for years. The one here that's hanging on the wall that I just showed you, that's actually a replacement for one that I had very similar to that finally gave out after some time. They just won't hold up as well for as long, especially when you're constantly putting them up, putting them away, dragging them around concrete and so forth. Whereas the all rubber one I've used for years, and it's perfectly fine. It will get like black stuff on your hands because it is rubber, but other than that, it's not really a big deal. It washes right off. These things here are super helpful as well. You can turn them and shut the water on and off. I usually keep them at both ends of the hose. That way I can always shut them off and disconnect the hose without waiting for all the water to drain out or shut off the water or anything like that. So even if you're not gonna buy the quick connects, even if you're just gonna wash your car with a hose, even if you're not gonna wash your car, if you just have a hose, strongly recommend those, because then you can always leave the water on. And then you can just pick up the hose and it's ready to go. So super helpful. And because you can open them just a little bit, you can get a lot of pressure. So oftentimes it negates even needing like a sprayer or anything for like normal uses of a hose. I don't really know what normal people do with a hose. I just use them for washing cars, but yeah. All right, now we're gonna get the foam cannon prepped. Now you'll find lots of videos and stuff out there, people comparing like a legitimate foam cannon to just something cheap you can buy on eBay or Amazon. I'm not gonna debate that. I've never used any of the cheap ones, so I don't know how they do. I know that everything I buy of Chemical Guys works, and frankly, I didn't want to take the time to find out. Plus, oops, I think. There we go. Plus, while I won't necessarily go too crazy with any type of loyalty, the fact remains they've put up a lot of helpful videos for me and everything else. So I'm gonna go with the company that is putting out a product that I know that works and are doing good work with it, not just somebody who wants to import some cheap stuff from China and sell it. It may be fine, it may not, I don't know. Not gonna worry about it, not gonna even concern myself with it. Did you lose your ball? We already went downtown today, walked around, got a bunch of energy out, and I've been working downstairs, so I think he's already a little tired for the day. Hi, buddy. Oh, thank you. All right, so the way I do this is I put it in here, get just a little bit of water, so that way when I pour the soap in, it doesn't just kind of stay on the bottom. And then make sure you shake your soap. This is Honeydew. It's the one they generally, I think, suggest to use with this. I've used several different ones. They all work fine. This one I don't know if it works the best, but it's definitely one of the better ones with the foam cannon setup. And it's pH neutral, so if you get caught out in the sun or something happens, you know, I've got Enzo out here and everything else. If I need to stop washing the car for a second, there's a bunch of soap on there, I don't have to worry about it drying or something and, you know, getting a bunch of water spots or anything like that. So, then we're going to go ahead and put this in. And a little bit harder to do one-handed. All right, make sure that's all in good and tight. All right, and then this thing just kind of pulls back, and we're gonna stick that in, just like that. Sorry, it's a little hard to show that on the camera. All right, and lastly, just before we get started, make sure you've already turned on the water so that the water is ran all the way through the hoses, through the machine especially. That way when you turn it on, it's not just sucking air. So. All right, there we go. So the machine's ready now. If the water's not already through there, that'll last a lot longer. You can hurt the machine. Hopefully the wind's not doing too much for the sound right now. I don't have a microphone or anything. So we're ready now. We've got the pressure washer, we've got the soap, we've got the buckets of water. I don't have the soap in them yet. Did you get your ball ball back? Yeah. So let's get going. All right, so this car isn't that big nor that dirty. So what I do is, you know, just the excess, you can just pour it in the wash bucket that you're gonna use. Now, these suds are, I mean, they're decent. I could do better with more soap or more pressure. Again, it's fine. I can put more soap in if I need more pressure. I don't, especially for this car. Enzo, come. Where do you think you're going? He sees the neighbor's dog next door. He wants to go over there. All right, so as I mentioned before, it's a pH balanced soap, which is good because the sun is shining right now. It's super annoying. Not only is it getting really warm, I might have to take the sweatshirt off, but obviously that will make your job that much harder as far as water spots and everything. Again, I'm not too worried about it. This car is gonna be super quick. So the good thing is if you're using a pH balance, even right now with the sun, it's not hurting it to sit here right now. Even if it dries, you know, just like that. I mean, Enzo's not gonna run off, but sometimes I do have to do things like that just to make sure he's staying close by. And I don't want to have to worry that it's gonna, you know, put a bunch of water spots on my car or anything like that. All right, so let's get to washing. Okay, as I mentioned before, you don't have to use the same soaps, but we're gonna go ahead. My sponge just kind of fell in. I didn't really want it to do that. Oh well. We'll pour a little bit on there. I like to put it right on the sponge. I actually learned that little tip from Obsessed Garage YouTube channel. You can check him out. He's, well, as the title says, he's obsessed. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this foamed up real quick.
Outside, a little bit high on the feeling. Can't seem to focus. In the corner of my best friend's sofa, you were getting buzzed on rum and cola. Wasn't brave enough yet just to talk to you. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty up from the minute that I met you.
All right, remember those quick connects I mentioned on the hose? This is where they come in real handy because now I don't have to completely take apart the pressure washer. That's really harder to do with one hand. Hold on. Okay. we can take that apart, and then, as I mentioned, you can just control it. And this is super handy right now. What we're gonna do is turn the water pressure down. Where it's just a little. Okay, the wind's picking up, and I may have felt raindrops, I don't know. But here's a quick drying tip that may not matter because it's about to rain apparently all of a sudden, is that turn your water on low like this. And you can just have the water help itself dry. So it'll make your life infinitely easier when it comes to drying. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, careful, don't hit the car. Again, one-handed, a little harder. It doesn't have to be perfect because anything's gonna be better than nothing. But if you can be more patient with this step, as frustrating as it may be, especially if you're in a hurry, it will significantly improve your drying time. I shouldn't say your drying time necessarily, but maybe your drying ability to do it easily with maybe just one or two towels, minus wheels and such. Another quick tip, you'll make your life a whole lot easier if you release the pressure in the gun before you try to unwind it. If you don't do that, it is going to be almost impossible to get that off. So definitely do that. That works with hose sprayers as well, just FYI. We're gonna go ahead and, since the sun is so bright now and I've got nothing but water in the car, we're gonna hurry up and dry this real quick, and then I'll talk more about it. All right, it was just getting too windy and too sunny. Even though I could have just rushed through this, I really didn't want to do that. So instead, what I did real quick is I've gone ahead and pulled the car in. It's still all wet and everything, as you can see. I'm gonna get the rest of the stuff in right now, and then we will go over drying real quick. Okay, I wasn't lying when I said, I promise, I have no way of, I mean, he's highly trained, but I have no way of training him to just come into every single shot. He does that on his own. Don't you, buddy? So I wasn't kidding that, one, I have a lot of microfibers. Two, these are most of the cheap, like Amazon ones. This is the one I use just for like dirty sections underneath the bottom of the car. Buddy. And then we've got another tub here. It's got all my better ones in there. Black ones are for like wheels, engine, so forth. Green ones are the ones I use all the time. I think they even call them the workhorse towel. Then I've got like these red ones and yellow ones that are really plush. Those are more for getting like sealants and stuff off. And I've got these green ones down here. They're a lighter green. They're meant more for interior. And then I know it's a little dark in here, but a lot of extras there as well. All right, as I mentioned, we went ahead and moved inside. Sorry if this isn't as bright. Hopefully the sound doesn't echo too much, but it's probably better than the wind. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna dry the car. I should have called you Shadow. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and dry the car. As I mentioned before, I always try to use some sort of either put a coat of sealant or wax. Wax won't last as long typically. But what's easier is to just get a drying agent that has a sealant or some sort of protectant built into it. I've got a couple different ones that I use. The one I use most common is this right here, this Wolfgang Concours Series Uber Rinseless Wash. Basically, this thing has a few purposes. The name kind of implies, you can pour this in water, in buckets of water, and use it as a rinseless wash if you're in places that have, like California, like water restrictions, or in the winter. But you can also, there's also instructions for how to dilute it to use it to help drying. So what you'll see, and I don't know how well I'll be able to show it with one hand, so I'm going to tell you, is I will spray a little bit on the microfiber and then I will spray some on the car. I'm actually pretty liberal with it. I don't know, you know, some people may be pro or against that. You know, there's the argument, generally speaking, you know, you don't want to use too much of something if you don't have to, but this stuff doesn't leave any type of streaks or anything, dries very well, and it's super inexpensive. I mean, this bottle here, and sorry about the paper towel, I like cut myself somehow, I don't know. This bottle here, I think was like $35 maybe, but I mean, you can see how much is left in this, you know, a little less than half, and I've had this thing almost a year. I wash my cars a lot, so it will last you a long time. You can dilute, like I said, it's super highly concentrated. Buddy, that's not the most comfortable place to lay. All right, so let's get to drying. I'm gonna put a glove back on so I don't bleed on my own car and microfibers, and let's go.
Smoking outside, trying to get your attention. You make me nervous.
Hopefully you can see this. These kind of like black spots right here. Somehow, despite everything, I missed a few spots. They probably got blown out of like here or something when I was rinsing the car off. If you see a section like that, just, you know, what I'm gonna do is go one fluid motion, and then I'm gonna be done with that side of the towel. So I already used the other side, so now we're gonna flip it inside out, basically. Flip it over on itself. Now we've got a clean side. If you fold the towels this way and do it this way, you'll get 8 sides. So definitely do it that way, get the most out of them. If it's a bigger towel, you can get even more folds out of it. Yeah, so let's keep going. Move the hose for him, he's a little more comfortable. Even though he's got his crate there that he likes to lay in and a cot. Those just are not close enough, are they, buddy? All right, so let's talk about how this makes it easier. I think that part's maybe a little more obvious. You know, this is putting on a thin layer of protection, so that way the water will beat off, things won't stick as much. One of the other things it does is it makes it so the water can air dry better. In the perfect world, I would have, I think they call them like deionizers or something like that. Basically, it just purifies the water, takes all the iron, all that stuff out of it, so that you can really just kind of blow dry your car and not even worry about water spots. What we're trying to do with this is, I mean, we don't want it to be, you know, like drenched or anything, but I don't know if you can see, but I doubt that's going to show up on the video, but this isn't actually 100% dry. I'd say it's like, well, minus the hood. I haven't done the hood yet. But the panels I have done, they're not 100% dry yet. And that's okay, because they're just going to air dry at this point, and that's fine. They won't have water spots or anything like that, because that's what this stuff is doing. One, that's going to make drying faster, because you don't have to worry about getting every single drop. Two, and this is the most important, is if you don't have to worry about getting every single drop, it means you don't have to put as much pressure, you don't have to go over it as many times, which means there's less chance of scratching, and that's ultimately why we do this. At least why I do it. I mean, all the other benefits are great, but really for me, it's making it so it's a lot harder to scratch the paint. So let's go ahead and finish the hood, and we still got the windscreen and the roof and the door jambs.
In the corner of my best friend's sofa, you were getting by some rum and coke.
All right, we're down to the last section, which is just the roof. I went ahead and got a fresh towel, mostly because I was, between filming and everything, got confused on which side I had used or not used. So we could have done this in one towel. We're going to do it in two. That's fine. I've already sprayed the towel and the roof, and this is where we've got the best chance of seeing this. But basically, you know, we're going in our pattern, and you can tell that that's not dry yet. And I may come back over that. We'll give it a second. Oh, I forgot to do this real quick. We may come back over that, but you'd be surprised how well that can do for drying with this stuff. All right. But it's better to do it. It's better to do it lightly the first time, especially on a section that big that's got that much water, and have to do it a little bit more than to do it harder than you need to and risk scratching it. Now the last section we're gonna do is the vortex generator, part of the roof. And this thing scratches super easy, drives me nuts. So I try to be even easier with that. And just kind of do just little consistent swipes. And yeah, that will pretty much do the roof. He's falling asleep.
I wasn't brave enough yet just to talk to you. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty other from the minute that I met you.
About an hour later, a little less.